first article, we have a cyclone Michaung. Exam point of view, we can expect some question related to the cyclone and also the formation of the cyclones. We also had a previous year question related to the cyclone. So first statement is about the jet stream and second and third statement is related to the cyclone. So combination of the phenomena can also be possible. We can expect some similar questions in the upcoming examination as well. So that's why we are discussing this topic. So coming to the context, recently the northern districts of Tamil Nadu and also the southern parts of Andhra Pradesh, the coastal southern districts of Andhra Pradesh experienced devastated torrential rain because of this cyclone. So here the name was proposed by the Myanmar, so which means resilience and fortitude. So when it comes to the naming, so 13 countries are there. So littoral countries of the Indian Ocean will propose the name. Each country will propose 13 names. So totally 169 names are there. So the name will be selected on the rotational basis. This time Myanmar came up with a name called Michaung. So this is the idea in terms of naming. So from this context, we have to know about the cyclone, the formation and also the characteristics and its dissipation. So what are cyclones? Cyclones are large scale systems of air that rotate around the center of the low pressure area, characterized by inward spiraling of wind, rotating in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and a clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. Right? So each and every word is important from the examination. So low pressure, inward spiraling of the wind, inward spiraling of the wind, right? And also counterclockwise in northern hemisphere and clockwise in southern hemisphere. So here the rotation, inward spiraling and this difference. So all because of Coriolis effects. So here we have to know about what is meant by Coriolis effect. So Coriolis effect is nothing but it is the bending of the air mass when it moves from equator to poles. For example, if an air mass is moving towards pole from the equator, the air tends to bend towards right in the northern hemisphere and also it tends to bend towards left in the southern hemisphere because of the rotation of the earth. This bending of the air mass is what we call it as Coriolis force or Coriolis effect. So the existence of Coriolis force is very much important for the formation of tropical cyclones. So next we have to know that the tropical cyclones do not form within the latitude of 5-degree latitudes of equator due to the lack of sufficient Coriolis force. So when it comes to the formation, two things are important. So one is temperature, another one is Coriolis force. So two things are important. So these are the two factors will determine the location of the tropical cyclone. For example, so the formation of tropical cyclone is possible in tropics, but it is not possible in temperate region and also not possible in equatorial region. Why not in the temperate region is because of the temperature. So temperature is not adequate enough for the generation of pressure gradient force. It's one reason. And also second thing is that the planetary winds are not favorable for the formation of tropical cyclone. Two aspects. So here we have to know about pressure gradient force. So pressure gradient. So formation of two different poles in terms of pressure. High pressure, low pressure. So because of the development of two different pressure poles, there will be a movement of wind from high pressure to low pressure. So the force created between the two different pressure poles is what we call it as pressure gradient force. Because of this force only the wind moves from high pressure to low pressure, right? So here for this pressure gradient force development, we need thermal gradient. Yes, high temperature is needed for low pressure, low temperature is needed for high pressure. So this temperature gradient is very much important for the generation of this pressure gradient force. Now we have to think, this is India, this is Indian Ocean. So for example, here we are having the development of low pressure. So this low pressure development is because of the differential heating of land and water. Differential heating of land and water. Yes, land tend to heat and cool quickly when compared to water. So because of this, during winter, the land will be cooler in nature, whereas water is warmer in nature. So warm water led to the formation of low pressure. So here, wind tend to get attracted because of this pressure gradient force. Yes, low pressure is developed, and this low pressure will attract the nearby air mass, and because of this attraction, and in addition to the Coriolis effect, the wind tend to bend towards the right in the northern hemisphere, and once it reaches this place, it tends to get repulled into the low pressure region. So in this aspect, it will set the circulation of the air mass. So here, the difference in the pressure gradient, that is development of low pressure, will attract the air mass. The bending because of the Coriolis effect will set the circulation of the cyclone, and in this aspect, the circulation will get formed. So now we have to know about the conditions for the formation. So here, large sea surface with the temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. Yes, 27 degrees Celsius. So this temperature is very much important for the development of low pressure. So that's why the tropical cyclones are not developed in the temperate region. That is one thing. And also equatorial region, it is not developed. Even though temperature is there, it is not developed because Coriolis effect is inadequate, because that bending is very much needed for the establishment of circulation system, right? So large sea surface temperature, that is there, and then pre-existence of weak low pressure area, weak low pressure zone development should be there. Then only the attraction will be there, the pressure gradient force will be there, then only the wind movement will be there. So existence of low pressure development, presence of Coriolis force, yes, for bending, and also small variation in the vertical wind speed. So here it is nothing but the vertical wind shear. So vertical wind shear is nothing but, okay, for example, if you are considering the movement of wind like this, so we'll have different layers from the height. So bottom layer, wind speed is different, intermediate layer, the wind speed and direction is different, and top layer, the wind speed is and the direction is different. This difference of speed and the direction is what we call it as vertical wind shear. So this is also very much important for the establishment of circulation. So Coriolis force and slight vertical wind shear is needed for the formation of cyclone. So these two also important. Finally, upper air divergence. Yes, convergence is happening at the lower level, so it has to ascend and then it has to diverge on the upper atmosphere. So this upper atmospheric divergence is also inevitable for the development of tropical cyclones. So now coming to the structure of the cyclone. So we have eye and the eye wall. So eye is nothing but the central part. So this central part is what we call it as eye, and this outer region is what we call it as eye wall, right? We have two different parts, eye at the center and eye wall at the periphery of the eye, right? So diameter, it ranges from 150 to 250 kilometers. So this is the diameter. When compared to the extratropical cyclones, the diameter is comparatively low. So that is there. And second aspect, we have to know about the eye wall. So eye wall, the periphery region. So it is a surrounding spiral system of strong winds. Yes, inward spiraling wind. That is what we call it as eye wall. Second one is it experiences intense upward movement of air. Yes, because of this spiraling movement only we are experiencing the updraft of the air mass. So upward movement of the air mass is very much needed. Then only cloud formation will be there. Then only rain will be there. Right? So experience of intense updraft of the air mass. And finally wind speed will be more. It can reach up to 250 kilometers per hour. The high velocity wind will be experienced only in the periphery region. And also heavy rainfall will be there. Because updraft is happening, cloud formation, condensation and then rainfall will be there. So that's why we are having the heavy rainfall. So this is the characteristics of the eye wall. Right? Now we have to know about the central region, that is nothing but the eye. It is a calm central region. So here we have to know why it is calm. So normally we know that in the mixer grinder, because of the rotation, the mixer particles will be surrounding at the periphery of the vessel, right? So here also, because of this rotation, the central region will be calm in nature, whereas the periphery will be violent in nature. So because of this reason, the central is calm in nature, and here there is a descendance of the air mass. So this we have to know why there is a descendance of air mass. So here it is rotating. So because of the rotation, we tend to experience inward pulling force, right? This is what we call it as centripetal force. So because of the rotation of the air column in the eye wall, we tend to experience the centripetal force. So because of this, the convergence of air mass tend to happen within the eye. So because of this convergence, the air tend to subside, converge and subside. So because of this reason, the descendance of air mass is happening in the eye region. And also it is characterized by the minimum wind speed because it is calm in nature, and the temperature is high, yes, because this temperature is very much needed for the sustenance of cyclone itself, and relatively high humidity and clear sky. So this is important. This we have to understand. Why clear sky, right? So we know that during the ascendance of the air mass, during the ascendance, upward movement of the air mass, the air tends to cool and it tends to condense and leads to the formation of cloud. Ascendance, we can experience cloud formation. When descendance is happening, the increase in density will increase and temperature will increase, and because of this warming, it will dissolve the clouds. So because of this reason, we are having clear sky. So ascendance, cloud formation is possible. Descendance, it will evaporate or dissolve the cloud. And also because during descendance, the capacity of the air mass to hold more water will be there. Right? That's why the condensed air mass will get absorbed into the air itself. Right? In the vapor state. So because of this reason, clear sky and also high relative humidity will be there, because more water is getting absorbed as water vapor in the air itself. So because of this reason, high relative humidity is there. So conceptually we have to know about why descendance is happening in the eye, and also why there is a presence of clear sky, and also we have to know why there is a high humidity in the eye region, right? Now we have to know about the modification and decay. So it is also known as cyclolysis. So when the source of the warm moist air begins to get cut off, for example, when this cyclone reaches the land region, the warm source region will get cut off because the warm water presence will be in the ocean. If the cyclone reaches the land region, then it will get cut off from the source region, and also supply of moisture also will not be there. So cut off from the warm source region for the low pressure development, for the pressure gradient force, that will not be there. And also the supply of water should be very much important for the sustenance of the cyclone. So these two will get cut off, and because of this reason, like we are experiencing the cyclolysis. Apart from that, Like we can also think from the perspective that when this cyclone moves over cold water, there is also possibility that it can get weakened.